Okay guys, there's something that's really important about dating that is gonna basically get you started. And what is that, Christian?
Going on the first date?
Going on a first date. Will you wanna go on a first date with me? Again?
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to Florida?
Maybe.
We are actually.
Maybe.
But you better survive the first date. There's a few little tricks that we want to help you out with.
Surviving your first date, I feel, is having the right mental game going in, so you're either not a nervous wreck, you're not over infatuated to the point of you're evaluating the date from a lens you shouldn't be evaluating it from, because then you're not even evaluating.
Well, how'd you evaluate our first date?
I evaluated it based on, like, there is very much a real romance factor, and can this person keep my interest? Are we attracted to each other? Do we have common interests? But also, how do they hear a conversation? Are they of high caliber in character? How do they treat me? In what way do they speak of what they're interested in and others? So it really is almost like a job interview.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, so first date, you're going into a job interview. Basically, that's what you're gonna do.
Dress to impress.
That's how you survive.
Put your best foot forward. No, that's not a great analogy. I think you survive your first date by going in, like, first know who you are. If you don't know who you are, you don't know what you're looking to get out of it. The other person's not gonna get a good feel.
Yeah, know your standards. Like, there's some things that you need to have as non-negotiables that if you identify those things, and I'm not saying like, oh, they are, you know,
Smacker.
Yeah, something that's like, you could be seen as maybe a little bit smaller down the road, but you know,
like
it could be,
they smoke, or they cuss.
Yeah, integrity, stuff like that are non-negotiables that you can identify those on the first date. You can be looking for, but also enjoy it. Like, have fun on that first date.
What are your tips to not missing out? Like, how do you not make a fool of yourself on the first date?
I think you don't overthink it. Like, don't be like, okay, I can't make a fool of myself. I can't do this.
Like,
just
what should
go.
I say?
Yeah, go and have fun. I mean, something that, of course, and we've talked about on this channel is on our first date, for a good 30 minutes of our first date, I was trying to get Christian out of her shell. And she says that's because she had a migraine. But I think it was just because she was also shy that day. Not to discredit
Yeah, I was
migraine.
a little nervous. It's gonna happen, but like work through that and let it, just like chalk it up. I feel like sometimes they say even in broadcasts, if you make a mistake, don't try to act like you didn't make a mistake, because then you're gonna like seem off the cusp and like awkward. Just roll with it. And I think that's how.
We'll almost even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Like that's what they do
say,
for
like,
sermon prep.
In Biloxi, Mississippi, like roll into it and laugh at yourself. Gosh, that's a huge, I think, just like life hack.
Yeah, oh totally. Laughing at yourself is a massive thing. I mean, that was something that I realized when I was in school, and of course this applies to first date, but it's like once when you start laughing at yourself and having a humor around understanding I'm not perfect and I can't just put this front forward that I am perfect, and I think, you know, if I make a mistake then all the things are gonna go wrong, then you enjoy your time in your life so much more, rather than feeling like I have to do everything perfect, I have to say the right things, I have to always have something to talk about, like all these stuff that can be very, very demanding on the first date. I think it's.
This video is also sponsored by LaCroix and squeaky chairs. Why is it when you want? There it is. That's great advice. And okay, on the flip side of that though, how do you, like, how should you impress that person? Like, what do you want to walk away with that person you're on a date with knowing about you?
Yeah, I mean,
Like, you don't want to be talking about yourself the whole time, like you're saying, trying to be perfect or someone you're not, but you do want to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, I think the key, and this will actually even help you in going down further, yeah, you specifically on our next first date, is if you remember back on our first date, is I tried to very little talk about myself. I think the majority of our date was me asking you questions and then us talking about things that involved ideas or concepts rather than myself. And that's what I was trying to keep the conversations around, is more talking about you as an individual, because I was more interested in you than myself. I already know who I am. And so I was interested in learning about you, but then I was also interested about talking about things that I enjoyed talking about with you to see if we connected. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
And I think we both did that. It would be, if there's a question, and like that's when you talk about yourself. Like, don't go in trying to impress, because you're like, oh yeah, I just showed up here in my Maserati and oh my friend. Like, just don't go that route. Just let it happen naturally. And asking questions, I think, is a great way to get to know someone and letting who you are shine through. But another good idea is just to like live it out and show it rather than try to tell it. Like, don't tell someone why you're a good catch. Just be yourself, and that naturally will come through if you are a good catch.
Yeah.
Like you are.
Yeah.
You are.
Very much. The other big thing that will help you guys on communication on the first date is don't over communicate before the first date.
That's true.
That is something huge. And I know every single situation is different. You guys could be friends for a long time, and so you guys have already communicated a lot, or you could have just met. But I would just say always try to, leading up to the date, don't over communicate. So like, even if you're good friends, and you guys are used to talking, maybe set the date a week out and don't communicate over that week. Like, make it very kind of small communications, just letting them know like, hey, I'm not ghosting you or anything like that. Like, I remember for Christian, I would call her and it would be like a 5-minute call, and it would just be something simple, just checking in, hey, how you doing? Like, looking forward to
gotta go.
Yeah, let's talk through details around the day. All right, good to talk to you, good night, kind of thing.
It wasn't hard like that.
Yeah, but I would keep it simple. And that way, even if you guys are friends for a long period of time, you have things to talk about. There's enough that happened in your life over the past week that you can bring up and have conversations about. That gets you started to going in that flow of conversation where you're able to keep going. And then of course, if you're new, and you just met these people, or not these people, just this person, then you're not wasting all of the things that you could be learning on your first date over text. That's often, of course, the means of communication we go with. And I'm telling you, text can be really, really like a hard thing. I remember.
You want to learn those things organically, not over a screen.
Well, I feel like, did you ever, I can't remember, I feel like we texted maybe, did we text at all before our first date?
I think we texted like the day before, just like over the details.
Well, those are just the details, yeah. But even after our first date, is I still try to always cut it off before it became too much.
Even now, like, our texting is kind of to the basics, and I've found.
We spent all our time together.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't feel like it's dwindled. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't lost that aspect of our relationship because we know our interaction is face to face. Yeah, if you're going on a date with a friend and you're thinking, oh, this is weird, we've known each other for 5 years, like, what do we talk about? You have a rapport with that person already, so don't feel nervous in that regard, but also explore that dating, like, more romantic side, and like, don't be afraid to. And if it's weird and you're like, oh no, we should have stayed friends, you can literally say that at the end. Just be like, okay, well, we tried it.
You can friend zone them for life.
Well, you have to get back in the friend zone. If you pulled over on the side of the road, you gotta get back on the road again.
That's true.
Then you're just wasting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's actually a great point. You told me this. Like, thankfully, we didn't have to have any weird friend zone talks, but you said that when you were going on dates before, you would always just over communicate, and I think that's something that's become amiss in dating today, is we're just so nervous, or like everything seems awkward, or like we follow each other on social media so we can bypass having the hard conversations. Just talk about where you are, and it's only weird if you make it weird, right?
Yeah, no, and I think the more conversation, the more clarity, the less room for like implying or inferencing or thinking like, okay, well, what is this person actually thinking about me? That was something I was super intentional about. I would go on a first date, it would just be one date. I would normally know, okay, is this worth pursuing, yes or no by that time? And then I would follow up with a phone call like later that week, and I would not text them. I wouldn't be like, hey, here's this text. No, I think if I went on a date.
It's not anti-texting.
Yeah, if I went on a date with that person, I owe it to them to give them some kind of explanation of just simple, hey, I remember those phone calls. It was, hey, I just didn't feel like we really connected.
On that level.
Yeah, on that level. And I really value you as a person, and I wanted to have that conversation with you. And I mean, sometimes it was, oh, I thought we did connect on that. And that was awkward.
What do you say when that happened?
Oh, it's just, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I just didn't feel that same way. Like, I remember that was the last person I went on a date with before you.
What's her name? Where she live?
Exactly. Yeah. But she said, I thought we did connect. And I just said, I'm so sorry. I didn't feel like that. And at that point, I mean, you're not going to try to convince one another that, oh no, there's something there. It's not, there's not this deep rooted, months of relationships that you're trying to win back in that moment. It's just a simple, hey, we went on one date and this is my feelings on it. This is my thoughts on it, and move forward. And all of those people.
If you are in that position, like, talk about it. Like, don't go down that road just for sake of, oh, maybe 2 dates or 3 dates and then it'll be less awkward. Like, no, the more feelings that are invested, the harder it is to navigate that terrain. So just be honest and really critical in your evaluation from the beginning, and it can actually help you avoid so much just unnecessary either drama or confusion. The amount of times I've heard a girl say, well, I just need closure. And that closure has led to, gosh, like such tricky terrain of, well, we were having closure, but then he said this. So does that mean he's still interested? Or he's dating so-and-so? Or we hooked up? And I'm like, you don't need closure. You just need to be consistent in your communication.
All right, so the keys to surviving your first date is number 1, communicate well.
2, show up as yourself, not trying to impress someone else.
3,
keep the connection to
in person.
To in person.
Yeah. 3, keep the connection to in person. And 4,
shut the door.
Shut the door.
5, 6.
Well, shut the door is kind of what we talked about. It's closing off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Closing off what?
Closing off the relationship. Like if it didn't work out, then that's fine.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Cut it off.
Close the door.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I hope.
Wait, we gotta do that last one.
Well, I liked it. It was funny.
Okay, cool. All right.
So I hope this is helpful. Maybe should we reenact our first date so they have a play-by-play?
I think our first date was too much PDA for us to be able to have.
No, it wasn't. We didn't kiss on the first date.
That's not how I remember it.
We didn't.
We didn't. But yeah.
Number 5, save that first kiss for a later date.
Yeah, we could go into that. I think a first kiss on the first date
Bonus.
overcomplicates things.
Yeah.
It's hard to walk back a first date or first kiss.
Yeah. Feelings and then like intimacy factor, those are not bad things within your relationship, but like your dating stage, if we're gonna call it that, you're like courting, is for evaluating, is this someone that I would want to be a father of my children, be a partner, or be a companion? That's friendship, that's commitment, that's character. Once you put chemistry and feelings and touchy-feely all in it, it's just, you're looking through a different lens. So we're not saying like, oh, well, don't touch, save your kiss for your first wedding. But we're just saying, don't put a haze on something where it's already confusing in our society enough. Like, just go in. It's a job interview. Yeah. There we are. We're back around.
That was our little PS. There we go.
PS.
Dot, dot, dot.
PDA.
Until next time.